Hey everybody. So I'm going to read some passages and give my thoughts as I sometimes do. Then the daughters of Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Micah, the son of Manasseh, from the tribe of Manasseh, who was, I'm reading from the Battlefield of the Mind Amplified Bible. The son of Manasseh, from the tribes of Manasseh, who was the son of Joseph, who approached with a request the names of his daughters, Milcah, Noah, Hoglah, Micah, Milcah, I don't know, and Tirzah. They stood before Moses and Eleazar, the priest, and the leaders of the congregation at the doorway of the tent meeting, the tent of the meeting of the tabernacle, saying, Our Father, who died in the wilderness and was among those who was assembled together against the Lord in the company of Korah, who died in his own sin, as did all those who rebelled against Kadesh. He had no sons. Why should the name of our father be removed from his family because he had no son? Give us a possession of land among our father's brothers. So Moses brought their case before the Lord. Let's stop there for a second. These girls weren't being greedy, and they weren't being greedy, they weren't being mean. They weren't trying to take away from their father's brothers what was rightfully theirs. They were trying to take what was theirs to begin with. And in this place in history, women had just as much rights as a good milk cow. So it's just as likely in this part of history for God to Shazam them into a grease spot of oblivion. Because this was not the cultural norm. But that's not what God does. Let's read on. Then the Lord said to Moses, The request of the daughters of Zelophehad is justified. You shall certainly give them a possession as an inheritance among their father's brothers, and you shall transfer their father's inheritance to them. Further, you shall say to the Israelites, if a man dies and has no son, you shall transfer inheritance over to his daughter. And if a man has no daughter, then you shall give the inheritance to his brothers. You see, he stepped across cultural norms to make sure his daughters, to make sure his people, his daughters, his loved ones, God's daughters, were taken care of. And I think that's really cool. Let's read Deuteronomy 22, verse 28. If a girl who is a virgin and is not engaged and seizes if a man finds a girl who is a virgin who is not engaged and seizes her and is intimate with her and they are discovered, then the man who is intimate with her shall give her 50 shekels of silver, and the girl's father who shall become his wife me start that over. My dyslexia is going into play here. If a man finds a girl who is a virgin, who is not engaged, and seizes her and is intimate with her, meaning raping her, and they are discovered, the man shall be intimate with her and shall give her 50 shekels of silver to the girl's father, and she shall become his wife because he has violated her and he can never divorce her. What that looks like from the outside is adding insult to injury. What it's saying actually is God is saying, this is the Lord saying this, if God is saying, if any of you morons violate one of my girls, you're not only going to set up a trust fund through her father, you're going to marry her, to give her a last name, to give her back some dignity that you took from her, and if you don't, the community is going to gather around you and stone you, it says later on in the passage. You see, God has always looked out for the disenfranchised. In this time of history, it was the women at the time. Men had all the power, and women had nothing. But this is God taking care of his people. Plain and simple, it's God taking care of his people. He's always taken care of his people. Like with the daughters of Zelophehad that I just read to you. At that time, women weren't allowed to own land. God stepped out of the cultural norm to make sure women could hold land. Then, later on, in Deuteronomy, or Numbers, or whatever I just read, hold on. Deuteronomy. He made sure women who were raped had a way to get their dignity back. Because you got to remember, this is way before birth control ever happened. So more than likely, if a man would have raped a woman and a child would have come out of that rape, both the child and the mother would be ostracized. This way, that didn't happen. This way, if something should come of that rape, or if nothing came of the rape, the daughter was taken care of by the man that raped her. The daughter of Christ would have been the daughter of God, the Israelite Hebrew woman, would be taken care of by the man, not adding insult to injury, but to making sure everything stays okay. And if they didn't agree to that, the whole community would come around them and they were more than likely stoned to death. So what I'm trying to say here is God is looking out for you. He always has looked out for you. He always will look out for you. In this Christmas season, that's why Jesus came to earth. To look out for you and for me by coming, having a ministry, and going to the cross. Have a blessed day and Merry Christmas.